Alright, and welcome back to episode 12, it's the Battle of Kettle Run on the legendary Union campaign. Just showed the purchases I made there. I didn't actually purchase anything from the armory, just picked up some harps and some 20-pounders from the reputation. I'm going to quickly speed through this opening part of the battle as it's just us moving the troops up here along this eastern edge of the map up to this kind of slope here on the center eastern part of the map. And then we're going to actually approach from that angle and come down onto the flag. The real danger in this map isn't so much his, he only brings one artillery, he has some skirmishers, but little do I know, all of his skirmishers in this battle actually bring Springfield 55, so they're not actually that dangerous. So we get actually pretty lucky with the weapons that he brings. But the danger here is that there's a big clump of woods right behind that flag, and we don't want to approach with such an angle that we are in the open firing into him in cover. So we're going to try to maneuver ourselves around this flag and take that wood line without taking too many volleys to the face. The difficult part of this battle is you are given a pretty short timer to take the flag. If you're approaching from the south, it isn't too quick, but once we do this big long march all the way up here, we're actually left with pretty little time. So we're going to get here in position. I've had my troops running so they get there as fast as can. I'm going to give them a little bit of time to recover some condition, and then we're basically going to get straight into it, and we're not really going to have any time to break. So I've got my skirmisher unit all the way up here in the far north, because I know that there's some skirmisher units that like to hide here. Again, he actually brings 50, like I said, just short range, rapid fire weapons on his skirmishers, so it isn't actually too much of a threat, and our normal line infantry could actually deal with him pretty well as we outrange him by such a decent amount with our Harper's Ferry 55s. But again, you don't know that, and next time I fight this battle he could come in with Whitworths or Hunters or something with a longer range. This is a nice position we get into here. This is kind of something I try to pull off, especially if he's going to come at us with one of these infantry. He's going to kind of get locked in on this unit, this B brigade, and he's going to let us hit him in the flanks with almost all the rest of our troops. That's really ideal. If he's just going to sit there in the open and take volleys, that's completely fine with us. So I'm maneuvering my A brigade around this northern flank. Again, the idea here is we want to get into a good position to take this wood line behind this flag. I guess I should say the first thing we're trying to do is eventually take this flag. We have about an hour left, which is a good amount of time, but he does like to keep a lot of troops around this flag, so you can't really waste too much time. And if you do this battle and get a little bit too ahead of yourself, you can very easily find yourself fighting kind of his entire army, and all of his troops will be in the wood line there around the flag. You'll run out of time, or you'll have to to do engagements where you really don't have the advantage. So we're trying to take our time. Luckily he's being really generous and donating a bunch of his troops right into us as we recover up here. And I have this 2nd Division A brigade down here kind of in the wood line. It's not the greatest cover ever, but it's a little bit of cover, and it means that I've kind of got that flank anchored on that wood line. This is kind of dangerous. He comes charging in with the skirmishers at my snipers. If he'd have survived that volley, he easily could have gotten into melee. That would have been really disastrous, but luckily he retreats as soon as we get a volley off on him. So yeah, just slowly kind of maneuvering around this hill. This battle is a lot of maneuvering. Once we actually get into position and start engaging the enemy straight up, it's actually already pretty much over. We've got such a good position, and we've so thoroughly outmaneuvered him that we don't really have to sit here and trade volleys for very long. He's already in such a bad position that he's going to start retreating. So I thought he was going to start charging there, so I had this brigade move up, but just kind of using my 24-pounder to punish his passivity here. He's kind of sitting here, not doing a whole lot. So there is this wheat field here on the western side of the flag, and we're going to try to get into that, as I think that will help us to get us some cover in case his units try to engage us here. Our B Brigade actually takes a lot of hits in this battle, which is too bad. I have a spreadsheet which tracks sort of my units' XP over the battles, and I do that by taking a no XP major and putting it in each of my units to kind of see their quote-unquote true XP, so that way they aren't being influenced by the officer that they have inside. And normally my units gain XP every battle, even if they take a lot of losses. This is a battle, unfortunately, where B Brigade takes enough losses and actually regresses just a little bit. Now, it was previously my strongest unit. I think it still is after this battle, but that's a little bit of a shame. I should have been a little bit more careful with him. But, you know, there's always little mistakes like this. So there goes one of his skirmisher units. That's always nice. I mean, the skirmishers aren't terribly dangerous in this battle, again, because he has sharp 55s, but we're still happy enough to see one of his units go, especially this early. And we're just kind of trying to make this arc around the enemy. I don't want to be too aggressive here. We're getting pretty close to the flag, but we kind of first need to remove these units from his wood line. And once that anchor has been removed, we can push these units in the center without too much trouble. And he brings, again, just like the previous battle, he brings Napoleons into this battle. So an artillery unit that can do a lot of damage to us if we get too close. Not one we're going to worry too much about at range, as these Napoleons only really do 1 to 2 casualties per battle when at range. But they really hurt up close, so you got to be careful. If we get close, we're going to take a lot of casualties, just like our cavalry unit did in that last battle. And this is crazy. I was really surprised by the massive range here that these two units get engaged into melee. I really wasn't expecting that. I thought I still had some room. But anyway, we're able to get them out of melee, so that's pretty lucky. And we've taken this flag. That was sort of the time rush of this battle. Now that we've taken this flag, we actually have all the time in the world, so we just need to worry about not taking too many volleys and keeping him routing. The only real concern is which direction he's going to route. So we know that we're going to push him south, but it's a matter of, is he going to go southeast, southwest, or straight to the south? And traditionally I try to push him into the southwest, as there's kind of a nice pocket in there. But the thing we really want to avoid is we do not want him to retreat into the southeast, as that's a corner that has a lot of good cover. It's an area that has really bad vision. If he goes in there, we're going to have a hard time kind of keeping him bottled up and keeping him, flashing and routing like he is. So what I actually try for this time, and I end up pulling it off, is instead of trying to push him into a corner, just trying to push him straight south. So I don't actually anticipate this is going to work. I think it's probably going to go sour on me, so I'm sort of anticipating at every moment opening up some kind of corridor to let him retreat to the southwest. But we just absolutely can't accept him retreating to the southeast. So that's all I'm kind of thinking about right now. As I'm taking this wood line, I'm doing some damage towards artillery, so that will hopefully stop firing soon. But I'm just trying to keep this 2nd A brigade over here to prevent his unit, which is farthest on the east over here, from retreating into that good cover. And you can see he's got some troops here in this wood line. Luckily, those troops are already flanked. They're not going to be able to sit in there very long. We've got this sniper unit here, which is doing damage to him. Yeah, he gets a volley off, which is unfortunate, but look, he's already gone white. He's already falling back, and that's just kind of perfect. We're just going to slowly, methodically move down this hill and push him with us, kind of keeping him bottled up, trying not to let any of his troops sneak out of the pocket that we're trying to create. And again, there's my B Brigade taking a big hit to the face, which is unfortunate. Should have really been a little more careful with him, but you know, I feel like each unit kind of throughout the campaign ends up with some battle like this where just a little bit too careless with them, they take a little bit too much damage, but luckily it's still a reasonable amount. He isn't, you know, brought completely down, but more losses than we should have had on our most experienced unit. And luckily for us, he's being pretty passive now that we pushed him out of this wood line. So we're just going to kind of take up positions in these woods ourselves, and we're going to try to get favorable exchanges with him where we're in cover, where he's not, or we're hitting his flanks, and where our flanks are secure. And the big danger here is, again, I'm just trying to move this A division to get between him and the southeastern corner. But, you know, sometimes in this game you have to be patient. He's not being very cooperative over there, so I need to just hold on and let him make a mistake. I elect to take my sniper unit and have him come over to this eastern flank. That's primarily because of exactly what I was talking about. I'm afraid of him routing into the southeast corner. Unfortunately, the route that I have him take is really rather slow, so it takes a really long time to get there. I don't think I really anticipated how long it would take him to transfer from one side of the battle to the other. So for that reason, I think it might have actually been smarter just to leave him over here on the west, but again, it's not the end of the world, and it's just as likely that had he stayed over here on the west that he could have accidentally pushed one of our units, or one of the enemy units, you know, out of this center pocket that we have. So in the end, it all works out. And I'm just trying to stay aggressive with this 24-pounder. The closer that unit is, the more damage he's doing, the more we're keeping his units routing. That's really the goal right now, is we're just trying to keep his units routing and keep our units firing. Our units are all pretty tired, which is unfortunate, but that's kind of how this battle kind of works out. You have to start the battle and run halfway across the map, so there goes his artillery, so now he's just down to these infantry units, and that's really great news. You know, it's a lot easier to bottle up these infantry units, and so now that his artillery and skirmish units are all gone, we're gonna have a lot easier time. So as you can see, just moving this unit down along this eastern flank, trying to prevent him from retreating in that direction. But I'm also just trying not to be too aggressive, trying to make sure I'm moving with all my troops, trying to make sure I'm continuing to move my 24-pounder up, and I'm really kind of trying to vibe with, you know, how he's moving. And that's a little frustrating. I don't think I anticipated that he was going to be able to shoot at that long of a range. Kind of the perspective threw me off there, but so yeah, just try not to be too aggressive. What we really want is he's going to come up and he's going to be inside of a kind of arch that we've made, which you can kind of see here. He'll address one of our units. You know, he's kind of addressing the C brigade here with this brigade that he has, you know, farthest north. And because he addresses that brigade there, he gives his flank to Brigade A. And we're just going to continually use that to methodically move him down the map. And it's also good just to kind of pay attention to which direction is he trying to go. You know, he's not, when his units stop retreating, they usually try to return towards the flag, which means that they're going to turn and give their flanks to units which you have sort of perpendicular to that line of attack. And especially if you can get 2 units, both firing at the same time, that does a ton of morale damage. And especially these weak units, which have taken a bunch of morale damage and taken a bunch of casualties, they're really gonna, even at 3 stars, even on legendary difficulty, they're gonna rout if you're hitting them with 2 of these, 2-star infantry with good weapons. They're not gonna be able to stand up to it. So yeah, just trying to exploit his flanks, not let him recover, not let him get into a position where he can fire back on our troops. And you can see what I was talking about with the sniper. I mean, he's only just now getting into position. So we've just about got this pocket complete. We just have to make sure he doesn't sneak out on the eastern or western edges. So I'm kind of rushing my 2 troops that I have, the 2 A brigades, rather A for first and A for second, into position where they can kind of cut off any retreats, as the enemy will tend to route towards the edge of the map, hit the edge of the map, and then either get pushed east or west, depending on which way your units are aligned. So if we can get into that position, we can kind of seal the pocket here. There may be gaps in between our units, but the enemy isn't going to be able to exploit those gaps. He's not going to be able to run straight through those holes. He's going to kind of get drawn like a magnet towards one of our infantry's units that we have set up, and that means that we can use one of the units which is on his flanks to hit him in the flanks and prevent him from firing back. So yeah, you can see I'm making a lot of use of the fallback command, really trying to make sure we don't take any unnecessary volleys here, as this battle's won. There's no need for us to take any casualties now if we can. This needs to kind of all be pure profit now. Sometimes on these it might be a good idea to try to go for some captures. It's a little bit hard to get captures on these battles when you create these big pockets, as units are less likely to rout if there's other friendly units there, even if those units themselves are routing. So it tends to happen, and it's what's going to happen here in this battle, is you get down to the final unit, and then the final unit surrenders, and you get those captures. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed up this footage from here, because now this pocket's complete. It's just a matter of kind of hitting them, doing damage until they shatter. I get this 2nd Division A Brigade, which you can see here in the bottom eastern side of the pocket, a little bit too close. And what that means is that when I tell this 24-pounder to shoot, you can see he actually takes some friendly fire there. Not a whole lot, just like 4 or 5, and then I think he's going to take another hit here. But enough that, I really shouldn't be taking any damage at this point. This battle's over. I wish I'd been a little bit more careful there, but what can you do? It's only a couple extra. And there we go. His last unit surrenders, like I said. And yeah, we're pretty happy with this result. Pretty good KDR. All of our units get pretty good kills. One of our original 4 generals is promoted. We pick up some of his harps, and we grab some more Napoleons, which is always nice. And yeah, just a little bit too many losses here on our B Brigade. Wish we could have spread those out a little better, but there's always room for improvement. So yeah, I was pretty happy with how this battle turned out. This isn't necessarily one of my favorites, but I think it turned out okay. So here's the battle reward screen, and that does it for this episode. I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.